Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to see how to use the index function in MS Excel. We'll look at the definition, example of index function in its array form, an example of index function in its reference form. Let's start. Index function is used to fetch the value in a given cell, which is specified by the location of its column and row. For example, in this table, if you want to fetch the value in this cell, we have to specify the row number, which is the row number 2 in this selected array of data, and column number 3. Index function uses the row number and column number as the parameter and fetches the value in a given cell. Let's see how it works. Here I have 4 tables containing quarterly sales data of mobiles, TV, laptop and smartwatch across 4 regions: north, south, east, west. Let's say I want to fetch the quarterly sales of the south region for the mobile for quarter 2. Basically, I want to fetch the value in this cell. What is the location of this cell in this array of data? It is in second row and second column. Let's see how we can use index function to fetch this value. Equal to index. As soon as I select index, you see there are 2 options available. One is using index in array form, one is using index in reference form. In the array form, there is only one selected range of data, like this. In the reference form, I can select multiple range of data. So I can select this, I can select this as well. I can select these 2 as well. I'll show you how reference form of index function works, but let's first start with the array form. I don't need to select the array form here. I can just select one array and specify the row number and column number where I want to fetch the data. Let's say I want to fetch the mobile sales of quarter 2 for the south region. So I have to specify the row number, which is 2, and column number, which is 2 as well. As you can see, it gives me the sales in quarter 2 in the south region for mobile. Similarly, if I want to fetch the quarter 3 sales for east region, I can specify 3, 3 or any other value. This is how the index function works in its most basic form. There are some variations. For example, if your range of data contains only one column, then I do not need to specify the column number. I can skip the column number. So let's first select the range of cells. Let's say I want to fetch the quarter 3 sales for this north region. I can directly specify the row number. I don't need to specify the column number. It fetches me the correct value. Similarly, if I had only one row, I can skip the column number, just like in this example here. So I'll select the range again, and I can directly specify the column number from where I want to fetch the data. For example, I want to fetch the sales for the east region. I specified 3, it fetches me 11. So this is one variation of index function. Now let's look at another variation of the index function. As you've seen in the recent example, we are fetching the value in one of the cells in the array of data. We can also fetch the values for an entire row or an entire column. Let's see how it works. For that, let's say I want to fetch the data for an entire row. I have to select as many cells as there are cells in a row across the row in which I want to fetch the data. So let's say I want to fetch the TV sales for quarter 3 for all the 4 regions. I'll first select the range, which is this. I'll select the column number. Quarter 3 is row number 3. And since I want to fetch it across the regions, I have to specify column number as 0. And I have to, on the keyboard, I have to press simultaneously Control Shift and Enter. Here you can see the quarter 3 sales of TV has been fetched. Now keep in mind that you are required to hit Control Shift Enter on the keyboard after writing the formula here, and all the 4 cells here should be selected. Let's see what happens if I just hit enter. I select the 4 cells. I'll write the formula. Row number 3 for quarter 3 and 0 since I want to fetch data across all 4 regions. Now let's see if I just enter what happens. It will return me an error. So it doesn't work if you just hit enter key. You have to hit Control Shift Enter key. What happens if I extend this to 5 cells rather than 4 cells and hit Control Shift Enter? And for the fifth cell, I'll receive an NA because there are only 4 uh, columns in this table. So this is the second variation that I was talking about. Now we have seen the index function in its array form till now. Let's see what does it mean to use the index function in its reference form. For that, I'll select the index function. Now here, I have earlier selected only one array of data. In the reference form, I can select multiple array of data. So I'll select the array across all the 4 tables. And I have to enclose them in parentheses and separate by a comma. This is the second range. This is the third range. And this is the fourth range. I'll close the parentheses. Now I have to specify the row number. So let's say I want to fetch the quarter 3 data. I have to specify the column number. Let's say I want to fetch the data for the east region, which is again, or let's say west region, which is fourth column. Now, as you can see, after row and column number, there is another optional parameter. This tells you from which table you have to fetch the data, and the sequence is specified here. The first range you have selected will be number 1, the second range will be number 2, 3, and so on. If I specify 1, it will fetch me the data from the first range, which is the mobile sales. So quarter 3, fourth west region, 7. By default, it takes the first table. So if I skip the fourth parameter, it will still fetch me the value from the first reference array, which is this. If I wanted to fetch the value for the east region, I would say 3. It will fetch me 12. If I want to fetch the data from, let's say, for the laptop, since the range for laptop is specified on number 3, I'll have to select the area as 3 as well. So third row, third column, 31. If I want to fetch the, the South region sales for smartwatch for quarter 2, then I'll have to specify 2. South region is also 2, and the table number or range number is 4, 15. That's how you can just change the last parameter and decide from which table you want to fetch the data. Now, just like the index form, in the reference form as well, we can fetch the entire row or entire column. So again, let's say I want to fetch the TV sales for quarter 2 across all the regions, which means essentially this data. So TV sales is the range number 2. So last parameter I'll change back to 2. I want to fetch the quarter 2 data. I specify the row number as 2, and as I have to specify the column number as 0, and once again I have to enter Control Shift Enter. Here, as I have not selected 4 cells, it has only fetched me the data for first cell. If I select 4 cells here, which is the number of cells in this table as well, in a particular row, and again hit Control Shift Enter, it will fetch me all the 4 values. So this is how you can fetch the data for the entire row. Now let's say I want to fetch the data for an entire column. Let's say I want to fetch the data for laptop sales across all the 4 quarters for the north region, which is essentially all these 4 values. I'll select the index function. I'll select the 4 reference arrays. I'll select the row number. So since I want to fetch all the rows for this north region, all the 4 quarters, I have to mention the row number as 0. And I have to specify the column number, which is the first column. And I have to specify the table number or range number, which is 3. Once again, I have only selected one cell currently, so it will fetch me the first value only. Control Shift Enter. If I want the output to contain all these 4 values, while writing the formula, I have to select 4 cells in this column. I'll once again do Control Shift Enter. It fetches me the value for all these. While writing the formula itself, you should directly select all the 4 cells and then write the data. So since we want to fetch the all 4 quarters sales for the north region, I have to specify the row number as 0 because we want to fetch the entire all the rows. I have to specify the column number, which is 1, and the reference array number, which is 3. So here you see we have received the 4 quarters sales for this north region using this formula. Similarly, I can change the reference array from where I want to fetch the data. Let's say I want to fetch the same kind of data for smartwatch, which is the reference number 4. I'll say 4, Control Shift Enter. I get this. And let's say I want to fetch the east region data for all the 4 quarters. I have to specify the column number is 3. Control Shift Enter. I'll get this data. So this is how the index function works in its array and reference form. I hope you find this video useful. Thank you.